I never thought I'd be standing here again, staring at what used to be our dream beach house, watching paint peel off the walls like old skin. It's been 6 months since Cynthia died, and I still catch myself reaching for the phone to call her, still turn my head when I hear her favorite song on the radio. They say grief hits you in waves, and today it feels like I'm drowning. The realtor, a young woman named Jessica with perfectly styled blonde hair and a nervous smile, pulled up in her pristine white BMW. She took one look at the house through her windshield, and I could see her face change. The confident expression she wore when we met at her office 20 minutes ago had been replaced by something between horror and disbelief. She rolled down her window just enough to speak. "Mr. Henderson, are you absolutely certain this property is structurally sound?" I couldn't blame her for asking. The house looked like something from a horror movie. The once cheerful yellow paint had faded to a sickly gray, with long streaks of rust running down from the gutters like tears. The front porch sagged in the middle, and several of the wooden railings hung at odd angles. Weeds had grown so high around the foundation that they were practically climbing the walls. "It wasn't always like this," I told her, though my voice lacked conviction. "My wife used to come here for maintenance every 3 months. She said she was keeping it in good condition." Jessica nodded politely, but I could see the skepticism in her eyes. She was probably wondering how any amount of quarterly maintenance could prevent this level of decay. Hell, I was wondering the same thing. When did our beautiful weekend retreat turn into this abandoned shell? I remembered the day we bought this place, 32 years ago. Cynthia was 35 then, and I was 37. We'd been married for 8 years and had finally saved enough money for our dream. A small beach house where we could escape the city noise and watch the sunset over the water. It cost us $43,000, which felt like a fortune at the time. Cynthia fell in love with it immediately. She loved the way the morning light streamed through the kitchen windows, loved the sound of waves that lulled us to sleep. Every weekend for years, we would drive the 2 hours from the city, pack our small sedan with groceries and books, and pretend we were living a simpler life. But that was before James died, before everything changed. Our son was 23 when the accident happened. A drunk driver ran a red light and hit his motorcycle on a rainy Tuesday evening. After that, nothing was ever the same. Cynthia stopped laughing. I stopped sleeping. We both stopped coming to the beach house because every sunset reminded us of the ones James had watched with us. Every room echoed with his voice. That was 10 years ago. Since then, Cynthia insisted on making these solo trips every few months. She said someone needed to check on the place, make sure the pipes weren't frozen, ensure no one had broken in. It seemed reasonable, responsible even. I was grateful she was taking care of it because I couldn't bear to set foot in the place where we'd been happy. "I'll wait in the car while you do your initial assessment," Jessica said, interrupting my thoughts. "Just be careful in there." I nodded and walked toward the front door, my footsteps echoing hollowly on the rotting porch boards. The door itself was barely hanging on its hinges. The wood around the lock was so swollen and warped that I had to put my shoulder against it and push hard to get it open. The smell hit me first. It wasn't the musty odor I expected from a house that had been closed up for months. It was something else entirely. Something that made me stop dead in the doorway. It smelled like vanilla and strawberries, like the bubble bath Cynthia used to buy for herself when she was feeling stressed. Like home. I stepped inside, my heart pounding for reasons I couldn't explain. The living room was dark, with heavy curtains drawn across the windows, but there was enough light filtering through to see the basic shapes of furniture. Everything looked normal at first glance. Our old couch, the coffee table where Cynthia used to leave her romance novels, the brick fireplace where we'd burn driftwood on cold evenings. But then I noticed something that made my breath catch in my throat. There were toys scattered across the floor, not old toys that might have belonged to James when he was little. These were new, bright plastic dolls with shiny hair, colorful building blocks that still had their packaging, a small pink bicycle that couldn't be more than a few months old. The toys were arranged as if someone had been playing with them recently, then simply walked away. My hands were shaking as I pushed the curtains aside to let in more light. The room came into focus, and I saw more things that didn't belong. Children's books stacked on the side table, a small purple jacket hanging on the coat hook by the door, a bowl with cartoon characters on it sitting on the kitchen counter. "What the hell?" I whispered to myself. That's when I heard it. Footsteps above my head. Light, quick footsteps running across the upstairs floor. My first instinct was panic. Someone had broken into the house. Squatters, maybe, or kids using it as a hideout. I should call the police. I should get out of here and call Jessica to drive away. But something kept me frozen in place. The footsteps didn't sound like an adult trying to hide. They sounded like a child playing. The steps moved toward the staircase. Then I heard the creaking of someone coming down the wooden stairs. I backed toward the door, my pulse hammering in my ears, ready to run if I needed to. A small figure appeared at the bottom of the stairs. It was a little girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, with curly brown hair and enormous green eyes. She was wearing a yellow sundress that looked too big for her tiny frame, and she was holding a stuffed elephant that had clearly been well loved. For a moment, we just stared at each other. She didn't look scared. If anything, she looked relieved. Then she dropped the elephant and ran straight toward me, her little arms outstretched. "Grandpa!" she cried, launching herself at my legs with swoosh that I almost fell backward. "Grandpa, you came! Grandma Cynthia said you would come. But it's been so long and I was starting to get scared." I stood there, completely frozen. This tiny stranger clinging to my legs, calling me Grandpa, talking about Cynthia as if she knew her, as if she'd been expecting me. The little girl pulled back and looked up at me with those enormous green eyes. And that's when I saw something that made my knees nearly buckle. She had James's eyes. Exactly, James's eyes. "Grandma Cynthia told me all about you," she said, her voice bright and confident despite everything. "She said you were very sad because Uncle James went to heaven, but that you would come take care of me when she went to heaven too." The words hit me like a physical blow. I sank down to my knees so that I was at her eye level, trying to make sense of what she was saying. Just then, a black sedan with tinted windows pulled into the driveway, blocking Jessica's BMW. 2 men got out, dressed in cheapts, their faces hard. They looked straight at me, then at Emma. "Is that her?" one of them asked, pointing at the little girl. "The one living in this dump." My protective instincts, dormant for so long, flared to life. I pulled Emma behind me, shielding her. "Who are you?" I demanded. "What do you want?" "We're here for the girl," the other man said, taking a step forward. "Her mother owes us money, a lot of money, and we're collecting." Emma whimpered, clutching my leg. "Grandma Cynthia said they were bad men," she whispered. "She said they were looking for something that belonged to my mama." I remembered Cynthia's letter, the one I found among her things. It spoke of a secret, a child, and a desperate plea for me to protect her. In the chaos of grief, I had barely registered its contents, but now its meaning crashed over me. Cynthia had known about these men. She had been protecting Emma all along. Just as the men advanced, a police cruiser pulled up, lights flashing. Jessica, bless her heart, must have called them. 2 officers emerged, a middle-aged man with graying hair and a younger woman who looked like she'd probably dealt with situations like this before. "I'm Officer Rodriguez," the woman said, "and this is Officer Thompson. We got a call about a disturbance." I explained the situation as quickly as I could. The men harassing my granddaughter. The fact that she'd been living here alone. The documents proving my legal guardianship. I showed them Cynthia's letter and the legal papers while Emma stayed pressed close to my side. Officer Thompson took notes while Officer Rodriguez examined the documents. "Mr. Henderson," she said carefully, "this is quite a complex situation. The guardianship papers appear to be in order, but we're going to need to involve Child Protective Services to ensure Emma's safety and verify these arrangements." My heart sank. The last thing Emma needed was to be pulled away from the only stability she had left. "How long would that take?" Could be a few days to a week, Officer Rodriguez said, not unkindly. In the meantime, we can arrange for temporary emergency custody or, no. The word came out sharper than I intended. She's staying with me. Officer Thompson looked up from his notes. Sir, we understand this is difficult, but there are procedures we have to follow. The child's safety is our primary concern. My safety? Emma spoke up for the first time, her voice small but clear. I'm safe with Grandpa. I've been waiting for him. Grandma Cynthia said he would take care of me. Something in her voice, the absolute trust and certainty, seemed to affect the officers. Officer Rodriguez knelt down to Emma's level. Emma, can you tell me about the men who were here? Have they ever hurt you or threatened you? Emma shook her head. They just knock really loud and yell. Grandma Cynthia said they were looking for something that belonged to my mama, but I don't have anything that was hers except some pictures. Officer Thompson closed his notepad. Mr. Henderson, we're going to file a report about the harassment, and we'll increase patrols in this area. But regarding custody arrangements, he exchanged a glance with his partner. Given the legal documents you've shown us, and the fact that the child appears well cared for, and specifically wants to remain with you, we may be able to expedite the process. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. After the officers left, promising to return the next day with someone from Child Services, Emma and I were finally alone. The house felt different now, not like an abandoned relic of the past, but like a home that needed protecting. Are you hungry? I asked Emma, realizing I hadn't seen her eat anything since I arrived. She nodded enthusiastically. I ate the last of the cereal yesterday morning. I was starting to wonder if I should try to walk to the store, but Grandma said I should never leave the house by myself. My heart clenched at the thought of this 8-year-old child rationing food, wondering if she should venture out alone to find more. Let's see what we can make for dinner. The kitchen told its own story. The refrigerator was nearly empty, except for some expired milk and wilted vegetables. The pantry had been methodically depleted. Emma had been eating whatever she could reach and prepare herself. Crackers, canned fruit, peanut butter, eaten straight from the jar. I know how to make sandwiches, Emma offered helpfully. Grandma taught me, and I can pour milk without spilling hardly any. You've been taking very good care of yourself, I told her. And I meant it. This child had shown more resilience and resourcefulness than many adults I knew. But how about we go to the store and get some real groceries? We can make a proper dinner together. Emma's face lit up. Can we get ice cream? Grandma said ice cream was for special occasions, and I think you being here is very special. 20 minutes later, we were walking through the small grocery store in town, Emma riding in the shopping cart, despite being almost too big for it, pointing out everything she wanted to try. It had been so long since I'd shopped for a child that I'd forgotten how everything looks exciting to them. Can we get the cookies that look like animals? She asked, pointing to a package of animal crackers. And what about those frozen pizzas? Grandma never let me have those, because she said they weren't healthy, but maybe just once. I found myself saying yes to almost everything she asked for. After what this child had been through, a few unhealthy meals seemed like the least of my concerns. We filled the cart with kid-friendly food, fresh fruits and vegetables, and yes, a half-gallon of chocolate ice cream. At the checkout counter, the teenage cashier smiled at Emma. Is this your granddaughter? She asked me. Yes, I said, and the word felt both strange and completely natural. This is Emma. She's beautiful, the cashier said. You two look like you're having fun. Driving back to the house, Emma chattered nonstop about all the meals we could make together, all the things she wanted to show me, all the places around the property that she and Cynthia used to explore. For the first time since I walked into that house this morning, I felt something like hope. But as we pulled into the driveway, I saw something that made that hope falter. There was a car parked across the street that wasn't there before, a black sedan with tinted windows, and I could see the silhouette of some sitting in the driver's seat. Emma noticed it, too. That's not the same car the bad men had, she said quietly, but it might be their friends. I parked in the driveway and sat for a moment, trying to decide what to do. Taking Emma into the house felt dangerous, but sitting here in the car felt like we were trapped. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. "Mr. Henderson," a gruff voice said. "We saw you leave. We know you're back. Don't think you can hide her from us." My blood ran cold. They had been watching us. I hung up without a word, my mind racing. I couldn't let these people get to Emma. "It's okay, sweetheart," I said, forcing a calm I didn't feel. "We're going inside. We'll be safe." I quickly ushered Emma into the house, locking the door behind us. I spent the rest of the evening boarding up the downstairs windows, not just for security, but for Emma's peace of mind. She helped me, passing tools and holding flashlights, her small presence a constant reminder of why I was doing this. The next morning, the social worker, a kind woman named Ms. Davies, arrived with Officer Rodriguez. Emma, surprisingly, was calm. She told Ms. Davies about Grandma Cynthia, about the men who came to the house, and about me, her grandpa, who had finally come to take care of her. She showed them Cynthia's letter, which explained everything. Emma was the daughter of Cynthia's estranged niece, who had fallen into trouble and entrusted Emma to Cynthia's care years ago. Cynthia had kept it a secret to protect Emma from her mother's dangerous connections, and from the pain of James's death, allowing me time to heal before introducing me to this new life. The letter was a testament to Cynthia's incredible love and foresight. After a thorough assessment, Ms. Davies confirmed what I already knew. Emma was a bright, resilient child who desperately needed stability. Given the legal documents, my willingness to take her in, and Emma's clear desire to stay with me, she agreed to expedite the guardianship process. Within a week, the papers were finalized, and Emma was officially my granddaughter. The men in the black sedan continued to lurk for a few more days, but increased police patrols and the official guardianship papers seemed to deter them. Eventually, they disappeared, leaving us in peace. The beach house that I came to sell has become our permanent home. I've taken early retirement from my job in the city, using my savings and Cynthia's life insurance to ensure that Emma and I can live comfortably here for as long as we want. The slower pace of life suits us both. Emma is thriving in the local school, making friends and discovering talents I never would have imagined. Evenings are my favorite. We sit on the newly repaired porch, watching the sunset over the water, just as Cynthia and I used to. "Grandpa," Emma says, settled comfortably against my side. "Do you think Grandma Cynthia can see us?" It's a question she asks often, and I've learned to answer it honestly. "I don't know for sure, sweetheart, but I think that if love is strong enough to last forever, then maybe she can." "I think she can," Emma says with certainty. "I think she's happy that we found each other." As the sun disappears behind the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, I think about the journey that brought us here. 6 months ago, I was a man drowning in grief, going through the motions of living without any real purpose. I thought my life was essentially over, that the best parts were behind me. Emma has shown me how wrong I was. At 57, I'm learning to be a father figure again. And it turns out, I'm not too old to love with the fierce protectiveness that comes with caring for a child. Emma has given me a reason to wake up in the morning, a reason to make plans for the future, a reason to believe that good things can still happen. "Are you ready for dinner?" I ask as the first stars begin to appear. "Can we have the birthday cake first?" Emma asks hopefully, since it's Uncle James's special day. I think we can bend the rules just this once. Inside, we light a silk candle on the chocolate cake and sing happy birthday to someone who isn't here, but somehow feels present anyway. Emma makes a wish and blows out the candle, then cuts us each a generous slice. "What did you wish for?" I ask. She grins at me, chocolate frosting on her cheek. "That we get to be a family forever and ever." "That's a very good wish," I tell her. Later, after Emma is tucked into bed with Mr. Peanuts and a cup of warm milk, I sit alone in the living room, looking through the photo albums that Cynthia left behind. Pictures of Emma as a baby, toddling around this same living room. Images of the two of them building sandcastles and flying kites. Evidence of a relationship full of love and laughter that I never knew existed. I understand now why Cynthia kept this secret. She wasn't trying to hurt me or exclude me. She was trying to protect us both, giving Emma a stable, loving home while giving me time to heal from losing James. She couldn't have known that I would find Emma so soon after her own death. But somehow, it worked out exactly as it needed to. I've hired a local contractor to start the repairs on the beach house, transforming it from a dilapidated shell into a vibrant, welcoming home once more. Emma wants to learn to fish, so I'm planning to buy a small boat. She's expressed interest in piano lessons, so I'm looking into finding a teacher. She wants to plant flowers next spring that will attract butterflies, so we've been studying gardening books together. These are the kinds of problems I never thought I'd have again. The happy problems of a grandfather, planning activities with his granddaughter, worrying about school clothes and birthday parties, and whether she's eating enough vegetables. As I prepare for bed, I stop by Emma's room to check on her one more time. She's fast asleep, one arm around Mr. Peanut's, her face peaceful in the soft glow of her nightlight. The little girl who was once hiding in secret spaces, afraid of every unexpected sound, now sleeps without fear. Standing in her doorway, watching her sleep, I silently thank Cynthia for the gift she left me. Not just Emma herself, but the chance to love again, to matter to someone again, to have a future worth looking forward to. Emma stirs slightly and opens her eyes, blinking in the dim light. "Grandpa, is everything okay?" "Everything is perfect, sweetheart. I was just saying good night." "Good night, Grandpa. I love you." "I love you too, Emma. Sweet dreams." As I turn off her light and close her door, I realize that this is what happiness feels like. Not the ecstatic joy of special occasions, but the quiet contentment of knowing that you're exactly where you belong, with exactly the right person, living exactly the life you were meant to live. Tomorrow, Em and I will wake up together in our home by the sea. We'll make breakfast and check the garden and maybe walk on the beach looking for treasures. We'll read stories and ask questions and make plans for the weekend. It's a simple life, but it's ours. And after everything we've both lost, everything we've both survived, simple feels like a miracle.